Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from all over the world. Welcome to the African Wahala. We are live today on Diaspora Radio International on Facebook platform, and we are live on YouTube, the African Wahala page. Today, if you guys came across the topic, we're talking about the zoning of the presidential elections in Nigeria. How viable has it been with this zoning practice that the Nigerian system has always tried to implement? While this conversation is going on, we might get joined by Ololade at some point during the stream, and he's going to come through and share some of his own educated opinions as well. Now, as far as zoning is concerned, we all know that it's one of the most spoken about topic in the Nigerian political space, especially when it's time for elections. There is another election coming up in 2023, which most people that are realistic don't have any faith in. But then there are some elements that can be added to the conversation that would goad you from an emotional standpoint and make you change your mind. For example, zoning the presidency. Now, this is an article from DW. It's a French media outfit, but whatever. It says Nigeria's presidential zoning practice comes under scrutiny. You guys recognize these two guys on the screen, Buhari and Jonathan. Buhari is the current president. He's been the president since 2015. Jonathan was the former president. He was there for about 6 years. Now, these two guys completely failed, obviously. Like, I don't even need to tell you what they did or what they did not do. During Jonathan's time, he was referred to as the most clueless president in the world. A very useless guy. Jonathan had no clue what he was doing. He always had this face of someone that was confused, that was overwhelmed, that had no clue what he was doing. All he found himself in randomly was he was the president of Nigeria, a country with over 180 million people back then. And he was in charge of that huge population and all the resources in the country. But this man had no clue. There were rumors that Jonathan was constantly drinking ogogoro, getting drunk, just to remove himself from the stress of being a president. His wife, Patience Jonathan, she was another notorious thug, yelling, screaming, obnoxious all over the place. And they stole a lot of money. Jonathan and his wife, while they were there, oh man, corruption was rife. There were some other notorious politicians like Diezani at Madikwe, the minister of petroleum. She stole so much money that she had to flee the country. She ran away to a Caribbean island country. I believe it was St. Kitts and Nevis. She purchased a citizenship over there that kind of gave us some sort of protection from the Nigerian state. Fast forward, Nigerians were frustrated with Goodluck Jonathan, that was under the PDP platform. And then they galvanized that energy and supported APC. APC's candidate was Buhari. Now, Buhari came and he took it to the next level. All the corruption in Jonathan's time was a joke compared to what Buhari's administration is. Buhari's administration is not only extremely corrupt, but it's also a terrorist administration. Like, literally, there are terrorists in Buhari's administration, like the Minister of Communications, Isaac Pantami. Pantami was fingered to have been an ardent supporter of Boko Haram, same terrorist organization that Nigeria has been fighting against since 2009 without any success. Pantami was caught on video and audio tapes supporting that same Boko Haram group. Pantami was fingered in preaching extremist religious ideologies to thousands of people in the northern part of the country. But guess what? He is the Minister of Communications. When all that information came to the public, people were asking for his head. Investigate this guy, conduct some sort of investigation, make sure this guy doesn't go scot-free, especially considering the fact that millions of Nigerians are currently living as refugees in different parts of the West African region. And in Nigeria, millions, like literally over 10 million Nigerians. Nigeria is still facing the same terrorism issues till this day. You guys haven't figured it out, but somehow you allow Pantami to go scot-free. Well, that's the legacy of the Buhari's administration. Plus, Buhari brought extreme levels of poverty. Nigeria is now considered the country with the highest number of poor people living in the entire world. Buhari's administration also made Nigeria the second or third most terrorized country in the world 6 years in a row. I mean, if you calculate the numbers according to global terrorism index, that is an organization set up by some Australians where they count the number of victims of terrorism in different regions of the world, and they came to a conclusion that Nigeria has ranked number 3 amongst the countries where people are victimized by terrorists after Afghanistan and Iraq. So yeah, Buhari's administration is another rogue, criminal, failed administration. In my opinion, these guys are not supposed to be seen in public. All these faces, you see all these guys? Jonathan, Buhari, all these past presidents, all these past leaders that completely destroyed the country. They shouldn't be seen in public. Nobody forced you to be the leader. You forced yourself on the people, and you need to be held accountable. You need to be tried before a competent court and thrown in prison. That's where you belong. But you know, we have Nigeria, rich people don't go to jail. That's why we are doing all this struggle, so that at some point, rich people, corrupt politicians will be held accountable for their crimes and thrown in prison. The fact that we've not been able to throw these guys in prison is emboldening more of these guys to keep on coming out, showing their faces and talking about, oh, I want to be your next president. But you're supposed to be in prison, bro. It's so bad that a guy like Babangida that stole away the only free and fair election in the history of Nigeria today is considered an elder statesman. And that's the same thing that will happen to Buhari. If Nigeria continues at this trajectory, if they haven't killed, okay, if something nasty doesn't happen and it continues at this trajectory and it somehow survives in the next 5 years, trust me, Buhari is going to become the next elder statesman. Future politicians are going to be coming out in 2027, 2031, and be consulting Buhari that, hey, Baba, please, we need you to endorse us. Endorse us. We need to become the next president of this country. That's what's going to happen. Anyways, let's go back to the conversation around presidential zoning. PDP wants to zone their presidency to the north. APC wants to zone their presidency to the south. Nobody cares, man. It's all the same. It's all, bro. If zoning was the solution to this country, zoning the presidential ticket, how come after a southern president took his turn in destroying the country, a northern president came in and destroyed it further? Is that not enough proof that zoning is not a solution? Also, if you think about it, zoning the presidency of a country, I'm not even talking about Nigeria. So people decide to select the region where a president comes from based on his geographical origin. Does that not take away the ability of that society, that country, to select a leader with merit? Like, let's just be reasonable. Let's think about it for a second. If you choose to select leaders based on where they are from, strictly, because you believe that this leader is from this region, and we're trying to portray equity and fairness in the political space. So for that reason, we need to select a leader from another region so that the politicians feel good and they don't feel cheated. How does that make any sense if the Nigerians, the actual victims of the entire system, are still going to suffer regardless where the leader comes from? The solution is not zoning. As a matter of fact, zoning takes away the ability to select people based on merit. That's what zoning does. And it's not even about age. A lot of people are saying, oh, don't support Tifnubu, don't support Atifku because they are old. I mean, I don't support those guys, but it's not because of their age that I don't support them. An old person can have the solutions to a problem. It's not about age. The reason I don't support them is because of their track record, their past, the fact that they were thieves. That's why I don't support them. It's not because they are old people or their state of origin. That's not what it's about. And for that reason, we need to realize that zoning is not the answer, it's not the solution to these problems. The real solution to this problem is to overhaul the entire system. The system that allows it possible for past thieves and criminals to come back and say they want to become the leader. That's what we need to overhaul. A system that has fostered poverty upon the people because a tiny fraction of the population is in control of the power and in control of the wealth, and they have access to anything that they need. Meanwhile, everybody else has to suffer for that reason. That's the system that we need to change. And if I'm going to put this in realistic, tangible words, I'm talking about changing things like the Constitution, the foundation of the country. The Constitution is the foundation of the country, right? It is the blueprint that the country runs upon. If that blueprint is unfair, if the blueprint allows past criminals that are supposed to be serving prison sentences to not only be immune from that situation, but to have the ability to come back and run again for more political positions, that needs to change. A constitution that refuses the people of different regions of the country from being able to develop themselves, to exploit the natural resources in their areas for their own benefit. That needs to change. A system that refuses the people an ability to protect themselves through regional police systems. That needs to go. It's crazy. You can't have a country with such a diversity. 250,000, 250 ethnic groups. And then you somehow expect that everybody will be governed under the same rule. No, it's not going to work. And this entire system, the Constitution, is what came about, what brought about the federal character principle, where a bunch of politicians came together and said, okay, because we are an extremely diverse country with so many tribes, languages, and different religious belief systems and traditional systems, we need to allow every group of people be represented in the management and the administration of this country. To be honest, to be fair, that looks very, very good on paper. Yes, every single group deserves representation, and they deserve to have some sort of power and control over their future, without a doubt. But has that federal character principle been implemented? Obviously not. It's not been implemented. and it will never be implemented. And even though the federal character principle is not implemented, nobody is going to prison for it. Nobody's heads, no heads are rolling because the federal character principle is not implemented. Why is that the case? The Constitution, it gives the criminals that refuse to implement the right things immunity, so nobody goes to prison. The Nigerians can keep on crying and complaining, oh, we need something. You guys need to start following this federal character principle. They don't have to follow it, because if they don't follow it, there is no consequences or repercussion anyways. And that's where we find ourselves today. Now, back to the conversation of zoning. Just 1 second. We keep talking about zoning. Zoning. Just trying to send Ololade the link. 1 second, please. Thank you. Yes, thank you for coming through. This is the African Wahala one more time on Diaspora Radio International platform on Facebook. Just wanted to give a shout out to Mayegun General for all what he has been doing. He's currently raising funds for the release of Chief Sunday Igboho, who was arrested recently on he was illegally abducted by the Beninois police while he was trying to travel out of the country, because he asked for self-determination of the Yoruba people in southwest Nigeria, and he also asked for the ability of the Yorubas to protect themselves. There is nothing wrong in that. That does not make him a criminal. But the Nigerian state, if you go against them, you are the one that will be referred to as a criminal. Okay. And it's just insane that this is the case that that we find ourselves in Nigeria, where you're trying to protect yourself, you become the criminal. The criminals that are trying to kill you, they are the free men. They are good. They are protected by the government. And that's why Nigerians had to, Mayegun General had to come up with this idea to figure out how to release Chief Sunday Igboho from detention. And I'm also going to mention that to show you the level of impunity, the level of evil in Nigerian government. Imagine Chief Sunday Igboho, he started that campaign about, man, we the Yorubas, we need to defend ourselves because there are so many terrorists hiding in our bushes, and these terrorists are kidnapping our people, killing them. There is nobody coming after the terrorists in the bush. So we don't have a choice but to protect ourselves, because the Nigerian police and military, they have a lot on their plate. Okay. The good ones among them have a lot on their plate. The corrupt ones amongst them, which makes up a high percentage, anyways, they are capitalizing on the insecurity. They are making themselves multi-billionaires and millionaires. The Nigerian government comes up with a budget, a ridiculous budget, in which a huge percentage goes into defense. Now, that money that goes into defense, they take that money, go to the United States, and tell the United States, hey, can you sell us fighter jets and machine guns? We need to fight Boko Haram. And then when the United States sends them those weapons, the loophole created, they are able to inflate the prices and make themselves rich, multi-billionaires. We've seen it happen over and over and over. A lot of these Nigerian so-called generals, military chiefs, that's what they've been doing over the years. And then what makes it worse is some of these guys, the Buhari's administration came back and gave them protection, like Buratai. Buratai was the former army chief in Nigeria. This guy was a killer. Let's just put it that way. This guy is responsible for the murder of hundreds of shite protesters. Okay, it was even recorded on TV, so it's not even like there are no evidences. But somehow, some way, Buratai, that is supposed to be facing war crime charges right now, he was made an ambassador to Benin Republic, a neighboring country to Nigeria. Okay. When he got to Benin Republic, that gave him immunity. So all that crime that he committed while he was the army chief by stealing money and killing shite members, he cannot be charged for them any longer. That is Nigeria, you know. And then when you have Chief Sunday Igboho, okay, coming out and saying, since the government is not going to protect us and our people are getting killed like chicken, how about we protect ourselves because we have some capacity to do that? Guess what? They come after him. The Nigerian DSS with some soldiers, they went to Chief Sunday Igboho's house at 2 o'clock in the morning without any court warrant, without any documentation that gave them the permission to go to someone's house, a private citizen's house, 2 o'clock in the morning. They opened fire, shot over 1,000 rounds of bullets, AK-47. They killed people, shot people point blank in that house, took away their dead bodies, arrested everybody else they found in the house, took them away to Abuja, 800 kilometers from Ibadan. Then they came out with a press conference the very next day and said, yeah, a lot of people were wondering who were the gunmen that went to Chief Sunday Igboho's house last night. Well, it was us, the state security services, in collaboration with some law enforcement agencies. We had to go to Chief Sunday Igboho's house to, attack him because we are dealing with a country of impunity. You can imagine that. They killed people. Actual human beings were killed. 2 people were shot dead. 12 other people were arrested, taken away, and incarcerated for months. Courts, they were taken through the judiciary system. The judges said, let them go. The state security service refused to let them go. And then eventually they let them go after torturing and detaining them for months illegally. Fast forward, the Chief Sunday Igboho was not apprehended in his house. He left the country to Benin Republic, trying to take an airplane to another country. And then he was arrested by the Benin Republic security system, based on the orders from Nigeria. And then he has been in detention ever since, around July of 2021. What are the charges against this man? Nothing. He has been through court systems multiple times in Benin Republic. They have no charges against him. The Nigerian state cannot even bring charges. Okay, you want us to arrest this guy? We want you to arrest this guy for this reason. What is the reason? Nothing. They have nothing against him. And the guy has been there for months, close to a year now, without any positive news coming out. It just shows you the level of impunity that happens in Nigeria and similar countries. Benin Republic is not really heard of a lot because it's a small country. It does not bring a lot to the table. But if you think about it, Benin Republic is extremely corrupt, just like Nigeria. There is no much difference. The government over there has to do the biddings of the Nigerian government because that's the way it can survive. Such a shame, man. But anyways, I just want to give a shout out to Mayegun General for starting this GoFundMe. Um, they've been able to raise a lot of money so far, and the goal, I believe, is, I don't know, maybe, okay, according to this article, it says £100,000. I believe it was £50,000. But yeah, the money will be used to hire lawyers from the international community, okay, lawyers that can speak French, lawyers that are well versed with the law system in the West African region, including Nigeria and Benin Republic, lawyers that understand the extradition process, and just the way the dynamics play out with the political system between Nigeria and Benin Republic, and hopefully they can do something that would put more pressure on the Benin Republic law enforcement to let Chief Sunday Igboho go. And once he goes out, that is a boost in morale to the Yoruba Nation agitators. It's not a crime to ask for self-determination. You can disagree with people asking for self-determination. There is no problem in that. Disagree, but be respectful. Okay? You can't say, oh, you're asking for me, you're asking for this country to split, you deserve to be killed. You can't do that. That is a banana republic style of living. There is nothing civilized about that. That is like living in the Stone Age, where you have no regards for human rights. You have no regards for um what's it called now? Human rights, period. Bro, I don't understand why we've been living under dire human rights conditions for so long, and some people have already adjusted to that system and they feel like this is all what they deserve. It's crazy, man. But yeah, shout out to Mayegun General for bringing this fundraising to the limelight and for doing what he's doing. Back to the zoning dilemma. Look at this other article. 2023, APC, PDP in zoning dilemma. Just crazy. This is the only thing they are talking about these days. Oh, zoning. Oh, yeah, the Fulanis have been in power for so long. It's time to give it to the Igbos or the Yorubas. In all fairness, the Igbos, for 62 years of existence of Nigeria, even though the Igbos make up one of the three major ethnic groups, an Igbo man has never been the president of Nigeria. Why? Because the people that have power in Nigeria, they blame the Igbos for the civil war. And for that reason, they feel like they are justified by preventing them from getting into power. How is that a fair system? And then when the Igbos come out and say, yeah, we are sick of this country, we want Biafra, we want to go, you start killing them. Like you can't do anything wrong around criminals. No matter what you do, you are a target and you are going to be a victim. And that's the Nigerian system for you. Now they are talking about zoning. The main political parties, APC and PDP, they're talking about zoning, because right now it's one of the best ways for them to psych up the emotions of the poverty-stricken Nigerians that they created. You know, they created the poverty-stricken Nigerians, right? Now, those poverty-stricken Nigerians that they created, a way to get them on their side, to support them. For example, PDP, the same criminal organization that brought Jonathan, that destroyed the country before Buhari came to put the final nail in the coffin. PDP has found a loophole to tell Nigerians that they contributed in their enslavement, that you guys need to ask for zoning of the presidency so that the next candidate can come from the south or wherever. And then the same Nigerians that have been poverty-stricken, deprived of a good life, deprived of good hospitals, good educational system, good anything, just good life in general, they will start clamoring, yes, we want the presidency to come to the south. Listen, if the presidency comes to the south, it's not going to solve the problem. That man is going to further push you into poverty. That's what's going to happen. Listen, the only president that I can personally support and expend my resources in going to vote for come 2023 is someone that comes out boldly and says, let me tell you, if I become the president of this country, I am throwing that constitution in the garbage. And we are going to restructure this country into a regional system where different regions have high levels of autonomy and powers and self-control. Anybody that comes out to say that will not be a popular candidate amongst the political space, right? Amongst all the other politicians, he will not be supported. But intellectual Nigerians will support him because that's what Nigeria needs, right? And that's the only kind of candidate that I can support. But unfortunately, such a candidate will not even come out because he knows in order for him to stand a chance in winning, he has to play the game like the rest of them. They call it, oh, politics is a game. If you don't know how to play the game of politics, you're a joker, you're a novice. Go and sit down somewhere. What do you mean? You don't know how to play the games of politics? the games of politics they're talking about is a game that will further enslave Nigerians and turn them into poverty stricken people, people that can't defend themselves against terrorists, and a society where terrorism is fast spreading all over the place. In the north, they have different terrorist groups. In the south, we love money so much that we would basically do anything for money. People will kill their mothers for money. People will behead their girlfriends, steal money. Bro, we've turned into a full mess, hot, steaming mess. And they want to tell you that a president from the South is coming to save us from this mess. That's a joke, man. Presidential zoning is a joke. It removes the ability to have candidates with merit getting to top positions. And also, zoning is just another way of using your emotions, okay, to goad you into supporting the wrong person. It's divide and conquer tactics. That's all it is. Zoning in the presidential whatever is trash. Period. Period. And I'm going to go to the comment section. If you have anything to engage in, feel free, type it in the comment section. I look on. What's up, bro? It says always Nigeria. My friend, you know, since that is where I'm from, right? And I'm sick and tired of the way it is. I need change. We're in the process of actualizing a revolution, both mental and physical. We need a mental revolution so bad. Like the average mind of the average Nigerian, especially those given birth to after, I would say, 1980, is a mess, an absolute mess. And we need a mental revolution to unlearn a lot of things that we have been indoctrinated into since childhood and learn how to live like normal human beings that love one another, regardless our ethnicity, our religion, political affiliation. I know those things are difficult to achieve. It's difficult. We are always going to have rivalries, but we need to have some love at the same time. Okay. And we pretend a lot. You know, you go through Nigeria, we have all types of religious bodies everywhere, churches. In Lagos, you go to Lagos, every single street has 10 churches, 20 churches, 1 million churches. Everywhere you go to has a mega church, billionaire pastors that keep on preaching to their members. Oh, you guys will make it. You will make it. That's what it's such a mess, such a scam. You go to the north, same thing. They have all their mosques preaching to their people, telling them stuff that has no business in improving their lives in the world. They will literally tell them, you know, these politicians, just let them go, let them go. God will punish them. God will handle it. Don't worry, God will take care of it. Why are you waiting for God to solve your problems? God has already given us the brains to solve a lot of these problems. Why should we now depend on God to solve the problems that He gave us the brains to solve? It's crazy. It's crazy, man. That's why it's always Nigeria, my brother. I look on. He says Nigeria is not the only country with many ethnicities. Look at larger countries like Russia, China, which are doing relatively well. Nigeria's issues stems from greed and selfishness. I agree with you, man. Even though those countries that you mentioned, China and Russia, they are not as diverse ethnic wise as Nigeria. Or, in fact, Africa probably has the highest diversity of people in terms of ethnicity, linguistics, and everything else. But in the case of Nigeria, we've just lost our identity. We don't know who we are. We are just a bunch of people living in a geographical space without any goal. A lot of us don't even know where we're coming from. A lot of us don't know how we were given that name, Nigeria. We don't even know how the union was created. So we are just a confused people. And the result of that confusion is what has been manifesting for decades. where we just cannot figure it out. And that's why we're trying. We're trying what we can to change the mindset of the people. When people start asking real questions, we need to question a lot of things. You can't just sit down and accept everything that everybody gives you. They call you, oh, yeah, Nigerian. You should be patriotic of you should be a patriotic, proud citizen of your country. Why would I be proud of an entity that does not represent me in any way? They will tell you stuff like, oh, yeah, a citizen. You should be proud. Are you really a citizen? Do you see how citizens are treated in other parts of the world? Even in countries where they don't have democracy, like China. I believe they don't have a full democratic system in China, even Russia. Their citizens don't have it the best. That's not what we're saying. But they are still treated with dignity for the most part. In Nigeria, that's not how it works. If you're not connected to the elites, if you're a poor man, you're finished. And that's why people are desperate to make money through any means necessary. So it's different. We're just a confused people. We have gold underneath our earth, under the soil, but we are beggars at the same time. We have gold under the soil, but we are begging everybody for help. Oh, come and help us. Come and help us solve our problems. Borrow us money. Oh, China, please borrow us money. Oh, USA, borrow us money. We are always at the mercy of the rest of the world all the time, constantly. And then some delusional people will still come around and tell you that, yeah, Nigeria is the giant of Africa. All these other Africans, they're looking up to us. We are the real giants. We are the real deal in Africa. We have the largest economy. My friend, just shut up. Mr. Estrada 333. A mental shift is what we really need. But I've always struggled to figure out how to go about it. How do you propose this could start and be achieved? Thank you so much, Mr. Estrada. That's a great question. That is a magnificent question. I tell you, man. I don't know. I don't know the answer to this, man. But I think part of what we can do is to encourage more people to enlighten as many people as possible around them with the correct information, obviously, because you don't want to go enlighten people with more garbage. Okay. Um, these days, we had to wait for people from the Western world to create social media. Once again, now we can utilize that same social media to enlighten as many people as possible. Because if you think about it, it's extremely powerful. Me personally, I've always believed in protests. I've believed in protesting, and a sustained protest for a long time will yield results, will force terrible administrators out of their positions. That's what I've always believed in. But in a case where a country makes it illegal for you to protest, so if you go out there to protest, you are risking your life. You might get killed by the state security system. Then you have to re-strategize, right? And that's where we find ourselves in Nigeria. We need an absolute mental change, an absolute mental change. What people can do is the people that have good ideas, open up a YouTube channel, a Facebook page, just like I did. There is nothing special about it. I am just an average guy that opened a YouTube channel and started talking because I am fed up of the system. And if this is the least that I can do, so be it. So I think a step forward is for the average person to share information that he believes in. Hold on, baby. I'm coming. No, no. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. But yeah, thank you so much for that question, Mr. Estrada. That's a great question. I think me personally, I would recommend people to utilize social media because you have it at the tip of your fingers. It's on your phone. Okay. You know how to enlighten people, enlighten them. You know how to explain to people that, listen, I understand that you are not a citizen. Okay, you're not treated like a human being just because you're poor in Nigeria. All right, because that's how it is in Nigeria. In Nigeria, if you're a poor man, you're you're going to be treated like shit, literally. Okay, that's how it works. Now, if you're a poor man that has a job, but it's a menial job that pays tiny money, you're still going to be treated like shit. So that culture removes dignity in labor. That's why you find a lot of people are criminals. They just want to get money the fast way so they can be respected. All right. So what you can do is tell people that, listen, fine, you need money to survive. You need money to be treated decently, but it's not the end all be all. So however avenue that you want to take to make your money, try and make it through the right means. But trust me, most of those people are not going to listen to you anyways. But try, I mean, just try, talk to people. But thanks for that good question, bro. First time. Thanks for coming through. First time. First time from Chicago. Greetings from Chicago, USA. It's always a pleasure to see you first time. Give thanks to the Most High, creator of all creations, the judge and juror, the one and only worthy of worshiping. Absolutely. Greetings, African Wahala. Thank you, first time. It's spiritual, brother. It's not about waiting on the most high creator of all creations. It's about worshiping and asking on a spiritual level to take account of our cries. This is bringing it from a spiritual perspective. And it's the truth. Um, as much as these charlatans, a lot of these fake pastors and imams have poisoned the minds of millions of our people, that doesn't take away the fact that the world is a spiritual place. Okay, there is a lot of spirituality going on, and a lot of people have been engaged from their spirituality. They just follow doctrines that would help them feel good about their lives on earth, doctrines that would help them make money, that would inspire them into, get going into business. And there is nothing wrong in it. You absolutely have to make your money in this world, and you have to take care of yourself and your family. But at the same time, you need to remember your spirituality. Not all that fake stuff that we are taught in Nigeria, okay? Because a lot of what we are taught in Nigeria is fake. Let's keep it 100%. You find a bunch of people telling you, oh, let's open a church and get new church members. That their goal is to get money. That's all their goal is, to make money, because the system has created that loophole where people are desperate for any means necessary to feel good about their lives. So the religious system is taking advantage of that loophole, and that's why we have 50,000 churches in every street in Lagos, Ibadan, and everywhere else. Meanwhile, it does not showcase on the lifestyle of the people, because the people still don't have love for one another. My brother Ilukan says giants with arthritis. I'm sure that's Nigeria. It's crazy, man. Very, very, it's insane. But we'll see how it goes. We're not going to stop working until we achieve results. Ololade is here. Ooh, Ololade, my good brother.
How's it going, brother?
Good, good, good.
Sorry.
Sorry,
For
I
some
missed you.
reason, I thought maybe I wasn't in.
Man,
For
my
some reason,
apologies. I was
yeah.
deeply, just
In
conversating with
thought.
the people. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
How you
I
doing today,
get you.
bro?
I'm good. I'm good. Sorry for coming a little bit late.
No, it's all good, brother. It's all good. We're gonna be here for 15 more minutes, so we have
All right.
some time to cook, right? So we're
Yeah.
talking about, I don't know if you've seen the topic, zoning, zoning the
Yeah.
presidential
Yeah.
elections in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It's an
Mhm.
absolute fraud. It's, to me, it's, I'll let you speak up on it. I have my opinions about it, but I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about zoning the presidential elections, and does it really have any positive impact on the people?
Well, like like you and I know, we know is a bull crap. Pardon my language. So it doesn't make any sense. So it's a system that limit the full potential of a country. Because what you're doing basically is, if a particular zone is not the zone that's supposed to be in power, that implies that no matter the brain that comes out of that region, you are not going to have access to that brain. And also, it limits you to what you can get.
Hmm.
The zoning that happened in 2015 was the reason why we were left choosing between Buhari and Atiku, right? Because it was believed since 1999 there has been zoning between the northern and the southern part of the country. 1999 being Obasanjo, right, or southern southwest. It was mostly zoned to southwest, but it was southern part of Nigeria, and southwest was given that slot because Nigerians, I'm talking about the tribes and different regions now, believe that southwest need to be compensated because Abiola wasn't given the mandate in 1993. So when the military era ended and democracy started in 1999, it was two major southwesterner in Obasanjo and Olufalaye that contested for the election, and Obasanjo obviously won, and he served 8 years. And after that 8 years, the whole system of zoning between the north and the south started with Yaradua becoming the president. And a lot of Nigerians know this story, right? After Yaradua came in, he died in position in the presidential position. Then Goodluck Jonathan came into the picture, but we could have stopped that zoning at that point in time. But what happened was the North were not having it, and they felt that Jonathan wasn't the right person that's supposed to be in power. And some believe that it was because Jonathan, they believe Jonathan was not supposed to be there, was the reason why they started this old Boko Haram to destabilize Jonathan government. And we know what happened. They came to paint picture of this man that we were told is a perfect, not corrupt. He was a former military guy. He's a disciplinarian. He's gonna get things fixed. And they paint this picture of this dullard, this idiot called Buhari for us. And that's why Buhari came into the picture. And like I said when I started, if not for zoning, we are not going to have this disaster called Buhari as the president right now, because we'll have been left with option of choosing from anywhere else in the country and not from the northern part of the country. So yeah, it's a totally failed system to zone to different region. Now they want to zone it to southern part of the country, and trust me, we know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be these same old politicians.
Nah, nah, I'll be honest. I don't give Tiff Nobu a chance because guy is just useless, and even the people that he thinks have his back in APC, one of the main political parties, they don't like him. They don't like the guy. They don't want him to get into power. So it's
Well,
like my enemies are fighting against each other to
mhm,
destroy each other, which I like.
mhm.
But if they do
But
this zoning thing, then it might
mhm.
follow the thief.
And one thing is we're supposed to use that opportunity now that there's no unity among these guys. For us, the majority masses of the country, right? We're
Hmm.
supposed to use that opportunity of this guy not uniting to be able to get things right and get things straight.
Hmm.
But trust me, all what we do most of the time is talk, 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 and little or no action. And that brings me to one of the questions that you were one of the viewers asked about how to solve this problem. I think it's Estrada, yeah, Estrada 333. What I think is we have to take a page from a system or a country or a race that have been through this similar problem. And I'll give an example. You see, Europeans as we know them today were not these advanced technologically disorganized as people. Um, in 1300 AD, it was around that time there was middle age, right?
Hmm,
And during that middle age era, all what we think is happening in Africa now is little compared to what was going on in Europe.
hmm,
And what they went through was what they call European Renaissance. Student of history know this. And what that implies is they went through a kind of a phase, a revolution of some kind. That's why when I talk about revolution, it doesn't have to be a violent
hmm,
revolution. It is more I incline towards mental revolution.
hmm,
And that mental revolution, we for Europe, it started with this renaissance where education was exposed to a whole lot of people. There was change in perception, religious perception. People are still religious, but it wasn't the way they used to think. Because back in the days before that renaissance, what they used to do is if anything goes wrong, they tag a witch in a town or village and they
hmm.
stone that witch, or they castigate some people and made them responsible for the bad things happening,
And
right?
you're talking about core
Core
Europe,
Europe now,
Germany,
Western Europe,
yeah,
Western Southern
Netherlands,
Europe,
England,
London,
yes.
England. These
Just
people
for the people at the back.
were more backward than Africans as at 12 something AD, right? They were more backward than us because we were not, we had our own mentality back then too, but it's not the way. These people have different means of killing themselves. You have things like iron in the maiden, cutting, hanging, killing someone with pole, different barbaric way of doing things. And they went through this renaissance. And one of the major contributions for renaissance is a man called Gutenberg, which invented printing. Because prior to printing and people getting material to reading and enlightening their brain, books were only available to the elite and the church. Like Bible was available to church, and the church tells you what they want you to hear. But
Hmm,
when Gutenberg came up with printing device, a printer, the first printer, and the Bible was printed in large volume, and people get access to those information, it was hard for them to be brainwashed by the church.
wow.
You get? So that's one set of people we can look at for how to go about solving this problem. Another set of people we can look at is China. China went through a cultural revolution, right? And the cultural revolution through Mao Zedong, you know, made China to be a country that was way backward before Second World War to a country where everybody's talking about right now, the most arguably the most powerful economy in the world. So
Hmm,
so all I'm saying is we have something that we can look back at to move ourselves forward, right? And
yeah.
if you look back at those things and use it to project ourselves forward, we can find a way to help ourselves to become the better race and the better country that we're supposed to be.
Hmm. And that's facts, man. And bro, thank you so much for that input because I could never have broken it down the way you did. No, no.
No,
So,
no.
man, thank you so much.
Obviously, obviously, you know this. We've had discussion about this before. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's great, man. Let me go through the comment section again. There are quite a few comments that I would like to touch. First time we have to go back to the only one ancestors for help. Without this, we will fall into the Western system of oppressors. Hmm. The only one worthy of worshiping, we continue to move farther away from our spiritual problems. Hmm. Bro, if you have anything to say to those, feel free.
Yeah, first time is coming from really spiritual
A
angle.
deep spiritual.
Was very deep. I always separate for me, and I always tell people you need to separate spirituality from religiosity. You
Hmm.
see, most of the things that we practice in Nigeria and Africa at large is religiosity, not spirituality. As a spiritual person, it doesn't even matter where you go to worship or who you call your God. You are spiritual. The morality of your spiritual being is the fundamental value, the fundamental core value as a person for you. But what we do in Nigeria is religion, because religion makes you to be different from these other people. You as a Christian, you see yourself different from Muslim. You as a traditional religious person, you see yourself different from this person.
Hmm.
And once you have all these differences, even though we are all the same, you
Hmm.
have conflict, and you are not wishing someone that's the same as you, having the same struggle as you are, you are not wishing that person well, because you believe that
Hmm.
person is different from you, right? Like, let's say I'm a Muslim, for example. If I'm spiritually grounded, I won't wish a Christian bad thing, right?
Yes.
Because as a spiritual person, I'm looking at the world from this angle that I'm suffering from this world because I have a bad leader, not because of one Christian is
Hmm.
responsible for my problem. You get what I mean? The
Yes.
same thing with any Christian that have that spirituality. We need to have that spirituality first before we have that religion aspect of it. Because if you're a Christian and you look at it from the angle that as a spiritual person, the problem for for my country is as a result of political elite, few political elites, and not some Muslims or some traditionalists. You get what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, that's the angle I'm taking it from. It's
And
a
it makes
very
sense.
deep, yeah,
It's
it's a very
very
deep
deep.
spiritual
It
thing.
takes a lot of
Yeah.
brain power to decipher. You think about this zoning thing we're talking about. They want to zone the
Mm-hmm.
presidency to this place, to that place. The only people benefiting from that conversation of zoning are the
Mm-hmm.
politicians again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So we, the common people that are poverty stricken, that live in a country where you can die at any time, because I mean, if you don't die of road accident, maybe you die of one sickness because you don't have good healthcare system, or maybe you get kidnapped by terrorists and they kill you. There are so many things out there to kill you. The life of a Nigerian has been diminished badly,
Mm-hmm.
badly. The other day we heard in Ghana they had a blast, 17 people killed. That was a huge news. Very sad story, 17 people actually died in that situation. In Nigeria, what I was thinking was, in Nigeria, 17 people died normally, steady, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody says, in fact, 200 people die, nobody says anything about it. 200 people are slaughtered by terrorists. Nobody says anything about it, because the life of the average Nigerian has been diminished badly. Okay. So yeah, thank you for that breakdown again. You've just completely said it all. At the end of the day, it's we the people that are the victims, that are being played, being divided and conquered along north, south. Though it's hard, it's difficult, because in a case like Nigeria, where even though the northerners or the southerners are both played against each other to be enemies, which benefits the politicians, it's difficult to get into the brains of the people that are killing each other and hating each other, because they genuinely believe that the average northerner that is also poverty stricken
Mm-hmm.
is the problem. And that's where the
Yep.
problem is. That's where
Yeah.
another problem is. But thanks for that
Mm-hmm.
breakdown, man. Let me go to more comments quickly. Man, we literally have like 5 more minutes. Okay. The religious leadership spiritually accountable will pay. Hmm. Estrada says again, what do you think about this quote? It's better to build children than to mend. Oh my gosh. Before you finish the quote, I already know what it is. it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
to build children than to mend broken men. I've always thought
Mm-hmm.
about this as a major solution. I have a bunch of things to say about that, man.
Yeah.
That quote is spot on,
Mm-hmm.
100%. The quote shows you why we have Boko Haram, for example, ISWAP. Fulani bandits, killer
Mm-hmm.
Fulani herdsmen,
Ritualists.
ritualists,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Kidnappers.
rampaging kidnappers, rampaging all over the country because of this quote. Because a lot of us, our childhoods were taken away from us. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
that were given birth to in the 80s, we are still lucky because our parents were able to, a lot of us, not all of us, our parents were able to teach us good morals, how to be decent human beings in the society. So we took that and ran with it until we became adults and we're able to survive and thrive respectfully. But a lot of people that were given birth to in the 90s, in the 2000s, now their parents were born in the 70s, right? Their parents come from that generation of people that are desperate. So that desperation has been transferred to the children. Those children now, they had no moral upbringing. Morality is not about, oh, respect your elders. Well, it's a part of it, but morality is to be able to love people and treat everybody with respect. We don't have that
Mm-hmm.
anymore. We have a desperate society where it's survival of the fittest. So you the parents, you the father, you know that your son is a yahoo boy. Okay, your 18-year-old son, he is a Yahoo boy. He works on the internet, scamming people, stealing their money. But you don't complain about it because you have been poverty stricken and you are an opportunist. Okay. So you support that boy that is doing the Yahoo because he brings in income for the family and you have no problem with it. That is the new Nigeria that we have going forward. And it's going to be difficult to solve this because let's keep it 100% with ourselves. Many other African countries have a lot of problems, like Nigeria. But I believe strongly their social problems are not as bad as ours. We have an almost completely destroyed social system as it stands right now, where morality is out of the window. Nobody cares about anything as far as you have money. If you don't have money, hide your face. Those are the kind of musics that you find in mainstream. So we have an extremely difficult system to solve, but we can do it still. We can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me just go through these comments real quick so we can sign out. They have oppressed us on so many levels and fake spirituality in disguise of religion. A long-term solution. That's what Mr. Estrada said in continuation to this comment about broken
Yeah.
children. Yeah, a long-term solution, a re-education of the children and those yet unborn, an education that instills high self-esteem. Man, Mr. Estrada, man, me and you need to talk, man. This man is thinking exactly like me. I only see a very long-term solution to the issues we have. Absolutely. I agree with you. I agree with you. Okay, I'm just gonna cut it off here short. I'm sorry I can't go through the rest of the comments, but thank you
Mm-hmm.
to everybody that came through. We appreciate this opportunity to be able to broadcast to a bunch of people that come here to listen to us on different platforms. We appreciate it, and hopefully we can have some sort of positive impact on people's minds, not just talking and not achieving anything, right? What do you say, Ololade?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a great avenue for us to be able to have discussion with people generally,
Hmm,
and we try as much as possible to make this a two-way communication where we read people's comments, we learn from what people type in comment section, and we just generally having conversation because conversation is important.
hmm,
We need to use social media for a good cause. Some people are not using it for good cause, some people
hmm.
are using it um in a bad way. And social media is one of those medium that I think we can use to tackle this government and try to revolution our people mentally, because we have a lot of work to do. Let me just say that.
Hmm. Yeah. With that, we're going to be signing out. Thank you so much. First time, Mr. Estrada. You guys came through, studying up and showing out. Thank you. And with that being said, peace.